I don't even think you guys are ready for this. I don't even believe you guys are ready for this. But I think one of the essential aspects of me kind of tiptoeing the line of my purpose and not just diving dead into it is because I know what has happened to people that have pursued a purpose like I believe mine is in alignment with. The Fred Hamptons, the MLKs, the Malcolm X's, the Marcus Garveys, the Harriet Tubmans, the people who stand up for their people in spite of everything, because we understand in our soul what the truth is, no matter how many lies are going to get forced down our throats. So, before I even begin this video, I want to say all of this is alleged entertainment, fake, BS, nonsense, child's play, fake, movie, script, TV. None of this is real unless it makes sense and applies to your reality. I have to give that forewarning because I know it may sound like schizophrenic, but there are people who will be compromised with these perspectives that I'm giving. There are entire systems that get compromised. There are entire political strategies that get compromised by the exposure of this. And I don't think that this is paid information. Most of this information I found out by watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, and reading books. Just because the ability to access information is so much greater in this day and age than it ever has been in human history ever. So I just educate myself, and thank God I'm autistic. I mean, it's not good trying to freaking pay bills and shit, but thank goodness I'm autistic. I can see the patterns and see really there is nothing new under the sun. It's what you allow yourself to believe and what you force yourself to know. That is a very, 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 very important balance that you have to take responsibility for in this life, or you won't be able to not only see, but you won't even be able to receive truths like this when I communicate them to you. But because I literally don't have anything to lose, like I don't have anything. Call it a spiritual path, call it my destiny, bro. Like, rock bottom is where I reside right now, still building myself brick by brick from the ground up. But these ideas, these concepts, these beliefs that I have, they're so powerful and they're sitting so deep inside of me that I know I have to share them and put them out in the world to at least give the people who do have the opportunity to make some real change, give them a chance to have something to hold on to and give to the world from their own perspective. But remember, this is America. This is why they send you to school to go into tens of thousands of dollars of debt with high interest rates, so you never have the opportunity to even think anything but I need a job to pay bills right now because I am in this much debt. This is why they debt strap everything, but then also don't give us access to social welfare or basic human decency if you aren't a wealthy person, because that has to motivate you to continue to make capitalism better. I think I'm actually doing all this, not because I think I'm some grand wizard. I know I'm a wizard, but not because I think I'm some master supreme. I'm just sharing this with you guys so you guys can get to the point way quicker. Hey, what kind of America do we want to live in? What kind of people should be leading us? What kind of people do we want to be in community with? What kind of world do we see ourselves impacting or infecting, as what we're doing right now with our American essence? Thank you for joining us on this video today. This is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And I'm literally just the second I finish editing this, I'm just going to drop it and post it. So I hope you guys are ready for this. You already know the promo. Links in the description. Check us out. If your wallet is going to cry after me saying that, like, comment, subscribe, do everything that's free. Help us with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. And if you see my tongue's blue as fuck, sour candy keeps me going. Sour candy keeps me going. So forgive me for that. I was not eating on a Smurf. let's just start the video. First section we're going to get into. Those conspiracy theories that you keep listening to are killing your brain. I understand they're creative. I understand that you like to believe them to stop you from actually seeing the reality of what's going on. Helps you sleep at night instead of address the demons underneath your bed. We have to grow up. And this isn't me trying to sound like an old head or whatnot. We have to grow up, bro. We as intellectuals must grow up beyond those things. We will continue. It's almost like a form of self-induced spiraling to where you've created a scenario, an illusion of a scenario, hypothetical, and then you continue to drag yourself down an illusion, dissociating from reality, stopping you from having any credibility in addressing what can be done in reality because you've sacrificed that to walk on your own path in your own psychosis. Therefore, instead of coming back to reality and then learning, you decide to go find other people who will validate your psychosis. And then now you will create a community around forcing the US government to reveal aliens on Area 51, or this extremes that further invalidate the real truths that aren't being uncovered, that are being suppressed, that are being hidden, that are being held away, that could really benefit the collective of people on this planet, helping us live better lives and helping at least us hold the powerful people that destroy our daily lives every day a little bit more accountable so they can be responsible for the power they hold instead of just abusive of the power they have and they feel entitled to based on their proximity to it in relation to capitalism and white supremacy. That's me speaking for us in the United States, of course. And I'm not even going to sit here and try to, how do we say this? I'm not going to walk on any eggshells here, or think I'm walking on any eggshells here. We're just going to go straight at it. This blonde Jesus, I was talking to a friend a week or two ago, and we're having this conversation. I said, how come black people born of this earth, they are the ones that the person who saves them is not their community, is not somebody who looks like them, is not somebody who comes from their land, is not somebody who was born of their ancestry, of their heritage. It's somebody who's come from another land, another place, who has very malintentions for us, somebody who does not respect us, does not appreciate us, goes out of their way to colonize us, to corrupt us, to consume what we have outside of our autonomy, to enslave us to their reality. That person, that foreigner, that invader, that alien, that is our salvation. We, the people who have been abused by that people in that group, we are supposed to depend on them for salvation, as if they haven't shown us what they do give us, which is destruction and demise and complete dissociation from who we truly are, which I believe is gods and goddesses on this planet. And everything else that's divine and holy in between that human beings have the opportunity to be. We as black people, and I'm not saying just as black people, I'm saying your ancestors are your salvation. The people who save you from your issues, your demons, your inner lack, it's people that look like you. It is your heritage that has grown through the generations, that has transcended all walks of life and environment, and has gone and traveled different countries and has gone and met different communities and has given birth to different souls. Get out of the mindset that white people and their savior looks just like them, acts just like them, behaves just like them, and validates them more than anybody else. But our salvation must also be their God and the person that is a direct reflection and example of what they believe their divinity to be. But we can't have our divinity in a reflection, in a humanized form, so we can look up to and aspire to be in our daily lives. That sounds very, very interesting, especially when it's coming from people who just got here 6,000 years ago or just decided to do this whole international colonization race 6,000 years ago, when there's people that look like me that have been here for millions of years. But we're not going to get into that conversation because that's going to force us to really address the racism that's in archaeology and history. And then on top of that, let's address how Europeans eat African mummies. Archaeologists. So again, if you want to get into the history, we can, but I guarantee you every step, every punch you throw at me is going to be 6 punches right back at you of real facts, not of some fake stuff. Second thing right here, alien accountability. This is what I hate. We in our society, many young people, it's like believing in Santa Claus for me at this point. The way that I take this right here, we will not focus on anything when addressing the issues of this reality in this world. We will not focus on anything or anybody who exists above the sky or below the dirt. We will only focus on people who exist below the sky and above the dirt. We will only focus on our atmospheric level, the ground and the sky, and every single person and living thing that lives in that ring on this planet, if this planet is a circle. That's going to stop us from being manipulated outside of our reality, gaslit into somebody else's spiritual psychosis, so then we believe in their demons, and if we start to believe in their demons, we can only be saved by their God and their angels, leaving us completely apart from being able to take the personal responsibility to save ourselves. And let me double down on that and why the alien theory is so difficult, because you can have white people who have gone through history colonizing, corrupting, pillaging. I was going to say another word, but you know what I was going to say. All other people in other lands that they deemed as less human than them. And they've hoarded all the wealth into such a centralized pimple on this planet. We know who needs to be taken to trial. We know who needs to hold accountability. We know, we can see, all we have to do is a simple financial audit as to who's holding money from slavery through the banks into today. It's only been 250 years. It's only been 200 years. JP Morgan was putting life insurance on slaves. JP Morgan and Chase was doing life insurance on slaves. We are still in this history. We are not that far dissociated from it. I don't care how black and white the pictures are. This allowing us to believe that aliens exist. Okay, I gave you the first option first. If you believe that there is something beyond the sky above us and below the ground below us, if you believe there's more than that is influencing our reality and has more of an influential role than you and me that live in this every single day, then you're at the mercy of those angels and demons completely. And you will find yourself apart from, codependent to a reality that is apart from living in this reality. And then, like many Western evangelicals and Christians do, you will force people who live completely in reality to submit to or surrender to your psychosis that has to do with your alien myth of a blonde Jesus that was born in Africa that is going to save black people one day. Never. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? How when we start to lose grounding in the reality, sky ground, when we start to lose grounding in this and how magical and spiritual and amazing this experience is, we are at the mercy of whoever creates the realities for us. The people who created the fear of God cult, the white Jesus who was born in Africa, which was really created in Venice, they've never had black people's best intention at heart. They've actually had an ongoing idea to dehumanize us socially around the world to justify destroying and exploiting every bit of goodness that comes from our lands naturally, while separating us as far as we can be from the appreciation and respect of our lands, so we don't understand how much power we are leaving on the table to the people who are convincing us that one day an American dream is going to save us from the same slave masters that created the American dream? Okay. Right. But I'm not done with the alien stuff. Because even worse, the people who aren't convinced to believe in the widely held, accepted alien spiritual nature that is Christianity, Western Christianity, white supremacist Christianity, forgive me, you'll just go the other route, the reject route, the New Age spirituality route. And what's even worse about that, you have everyday people, everyday, especially white Americans. This is a problem with us. Okay, this is a problem with white Americans who don't have connection to a spiritual practice and don't have a tie, or at least an appreciation of what culture and spirituality is to indigenous people. So at least they can be inspired in ways that don't follow the same bastard lens of their colonizing ancestors. Because I guarantee you, you can find white culture in Europe. You're not going to find it in America, bro. That shit does not exist over here. But what I'm trying to say with this whole point, before I get too lost and people start calling me a racist, is you're going to have people think, just white people, think that they are born connected to alien species to stop them from taking accountability from the fact that their recent ancestors were probably racist and probably had something to do against giving black and brown people human rights in this country. Recent ancestors, I mean grandparents, parents, peers. And their far ancestors are no better. They're actually some of the worst human beings that ever crossed into this side of the world and left their mark by creating a giant country that is really just a hidden military base used to put an arm this deep into the indigenous Western world and make sure that Europe will always survive as the parasite that it is on all the marginalized people that it continues to create to justify dehumanizing and exploiting. Stand up for your motherfucking people. So you have the people who believe in the God is the only alien and he owns everything and we are all slaves to him. Worship, worship, worship. On this side, the Christian nationalists. And then you have the New Age spiritualists who think that they are not connected to the white colonizers that they are genetically connected to, but they're connected actually to these super cool, divine, blue alien bird-looking things with like cattails. And they came from this constellation and they came here to bring balance to Earth. But somehow that balance never makes it out of the cult communities that they exist in to affect things like politics or society or collective culture. It's almost like it's communities validating psychosis of people who are probably rejected from the traditional or mainstream spiritual culture, which opens up the door for a lot of people who are just going to mask as spiritually awakened and enlightened people that are just drug addicts, people who are just insane, who are just narcissists can get in there. Because it ends up being more about dissociating from all my negativity to feel like I am all this goodness, not actually taking accountability for my shadow and all that darkness that I feel to become somebody of value. I had to shit on you niggas today. I'm so sorry, bro. Let's make sure this is still recording because I know I'd be going off today. Good. Okay, next thing. The American dream theory, this is one of my favorite ones, to be honest, to speak about, because if you think about it, People from all over the world, usually less fortunate people fleeing their circumstances or people wanting a better life than they have immediately. They're all sold on the American dream theory. Come here, hopefully can make a better life for themselves. And if they can, which usually is doing anything, because why would you flee a whole country to start a new life if you could just do it there? You know what I'm saying? So like literally America is like, we gave you an opportunity to have a better life. Like, yeah, you gave people like basic, not even basic human decency, but like kind of right on the scale of like tipping inhumane human decency. And also, when people come from other places, they usually come with their own work ethic. They don't come with American work ethic. Because everything in America is a performance. So even work ethic and the grind set is a performance because rich people don't work hard. The whole point of being rich is to not work hard. It's to make other people work hard or your money work hard for you so you can enjoy your life free from this broken system. So even that, bro, the American dream, grind set culture, you need to work like a slave, bro. Work like a slave, live like a king. It's all an illusion. The reason why I call these colonizers, the Western colonizers, especially the American ones, some of the greatest businessmen is because they're not selling you any kind of business. They're selling you salvation. And salvation, it feeds on hope. And if you have enough hope and enough desperation tied in with that hope, I can give you an illusion of salvation and keep you salivating and walking towards me while giving you fundamentally nothing just because I truly want to keep you away from looking within to realize that you have the tools to actualize yourself and you don't need me and I'm just exploiting your inability to do that. I truly believe this country was meant to be a multicultural paradise, but white supremacy and not addressing that is stopping it from becoming that, and the desire for like the white man to exploit everybody and not give anybody returns on anything is also going to self-destruct this place. Final bit of this first part. Hopefully I have enough time to keep recording this thing because I'm really trying to get into everything here. Final bit. The illusion of this projection of a class war. No, forgive me. Let me get this right. The projections of culture wars over just addressing the fact that it's rich people constantly like rich people have 98% and we have 2%. We all have 2%. And they keep on fighting with the free time they have for more than the 98% they have. While we, in working our multiple jobs or having families to take care of or having lives to live, we have to get backed up and claw each other over that 2%. It's almost like it's intentional. It's almost like it's intentional. It's almost like when a few people have a bunch of resources, they refuse to appreciate it. And if they don't squander it, they sacrifice it. Or they don't know how to do that. Or they're just so narcissistic, they don't even do anything with it. They just hoard it so other people don't have it. But what's the intention of having a bunch of people who are desperate and hungry fighting over scarce resources? You force them to create reasons amongst themselves why they are more deserving than their peers over having access to those small resources. I'm a black man. I am a this woman. I am a this queer person. I am a this, so I deserve this first. So I deserve first. And then there's people like me who are sitting in the poor section looking at the 98% that the rich people got, the 10%, mind you, rich people got, and I'm like, why don't we just take some of that? Oh, it's because they're saving that for their great grandchildren. No, they're not. You know they're not. I know they're not. They're doing this because they believe, rich people think like this, slave masters think like this. They think that forcing people in a crabs in a bucket mentality is going to drive up competition, but such an animalistic form of competition that people are willing to fight over crumbs to the death. Instead of knowing there is abundance in this world and knowing if they don't get it this time, there is a time for them another time. And they must be willing to appreciate the fact that somebody else's time is here. And they, in respecting that, only bring their time closer to the present moment. Instead of developing those fingers of anger and jealousy that cause us to react in ways that sabotage our present moment, our future really, for emotions that were incited in a present moment that weren't going to stay that long anyway. Remember. And I had to put this one example here because I know that as much as I talk about white people on here, people are going to say, "Oh, you're racist, you're this, you're that." And it's like, no, none of that, my friend. The example I included here was the anti-Semitic, false, like really just racist, super racist lie that is, oh, Jewish people run the banks and they hoard all the money and this and that. I want to make sure that I'm addressing that on my page because I'm not putting up with that. I know what it's like to deal with racism as a black person, and I'm not letting anybody even hold those ideas within them. Not on my page. We're too smart for that. And to be in those higher realms, those higher rungs of intellectualism, you have to release the ego's desire to have power over other people's identities. You have to release the need to punch down to push yourself up. And that is, racism is just one lightning strike from that source. And I hope that we all address that in all the ways that we are afraid, ashamed, and hateful and fearful towards other people that don't look like us or live like us. I hope we really want to address that here. The insecurity starts in here and is only validated by the experience in the outer world. But if we're projecting negativity before we've even had experiences with people, we're already setting ourselves and the other people up to fail on purpose so we can continue to validate our insecurities rather than healing our insecurities to find new ways to appreciate people who are different than us. I hope y'all heard that loud and clear, man. I hope you heard that loud and clear. I'm not putting up with racism. I'm not putting up with anti-Semitism. I'm not putting up with homophobia, queerphobia. I'm not putting up with the fat phobia. I'm not putting up with transphobia. I'm not putting up with none of that. Truly, see, is there something inside me that wishes I could express myself more authentically or differently that is being accessed by this person? And is that why I hate them? Are they making me uncomfortable because they're reminding me all the ways that I hate myself? All the ways that I point out my flaws and I don't point out the parts of myself that I appreciate? Is that why I'm doing this type of shit? Because I'm telling you, a healthy, happy individual who's getting their good tree is getting their sweet loving. They're not thinking about this. They're focused on the life that they're living. And I hope you guys can be more too. And I hope in releasing those insecurities, you allow yourself to see there is no 8th generation grandchildren that deserves any kind of money that shouldn't be given to somebody who is starving right now. Thank you. Okay, we're getting into phase 2 now. America set itself up to fail. And yeah, this is me saying that it set itself up to fail. And I'm honestly pretty interested to see what the fail-safe mechanisms or the contingency plans are by our government, because I think at least a decent amount of people know that it's not two different sides. It's just two wings of the same bird. So it'd be very interesting to see how the false democracy of the American government, the billionaire political entertainment system, wants to address what's happening now, other than continuing to enslave everyday Americans. And then we'll say that another time. So I have split the social group because of just severe wealth inequality. Like, there's really only two realities people are living in. I don't care what identities people are really in. We can talk about that another time. For right now, we're splitting it up between the powerful and the people. So really just the rich and the poor. And then everybody else who kind of just keels down on the middle ground to attempt to gain validation from the wealthy. So the powerful, their flaw, which is they need to find a way to take responsibility for, or else they're going to play a role in destroying this society, is they have assumed power by control, not power by responsibility. This is a concept that came to me when I was studying the land back, the indigenous, I don't even want to say native, but if my indigenous community, if you guys would like me to say whatever title you'd like me to give, please let me know. But I was listening to indigenous elders speaking about, yes, the call is land back, but it's not land back to own the land. It's land back because the land owns us. Again, I'm saying this very wrong, but I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. We take care of the land. And in the responsibility we take over being blessed with being here in this experience with this land, our relationship to it develops. Our appreciation for it develops. Our ability to integrate with it and to know it and to be able to learn and move throughout the seasons develops and enhances. Our ability to communicate with other life that exists on this earth enhances. Our need to create other modes of escape or other tools to better live a human life start to cease, or at least lower, because we have such a more profound appreciation for the world we are taking responsibility for. We aren't just stealing access to from somebody else and then calling our own by stamping a title on it. What I'm trying to say with all of that is simply, with great power comes great responsibility. Where's my freaking... What I'm trying to say with all this is, with great power comes great responsibility. And many of the people in power, especially right now, which is very scary, they have inherited their power. So not only do they not know what it's like to take responsibility for power, they don't even know what it's like to actually earn the levels of power by which they have. So we have leaders who generationally don't understand what it means to take responsibility for and gain power through that responsibility. They only know, hey, I have power over something because I own it, because I control it. So I just have to amass a certain amount of wealth or go to war with somebody and then just take it. So I own it, so it's mine now. But in owning, you don't understand responsibility. And so much of our culture is like this. And this is why I've honestly kind of stepped away from dating and relationships as of late, because so much of the culture is ownership. It's patriarchal. Hey, I'm a man. I bought you, woman, through marriage, and now I own you. So everything underneath this roof doesn't matter unless I decide it matters, because you're my property. Not this is a relationship that we are both taking responsibility for, and we will both be responsible for the consequences of our actions within, willing to be honest and vulnerable and there and present with each other. This is, I own you, so you will not do this, this, and this. And then expectations come up, disappointment starts to follow right after that. And 50% of people get divorced after the first how many? So again, if the powerful people want, and please allow this to be, actually I'll say this later, but I should be working in the White House. By the end of the year, or like by next year, I should be working in the White House. I should be the coolest person that walks in that area. I really hope so. I hope this video doesn't get me killed. But if the powerful people want to understand their flaws, which they never take accountability for since they only hang around yes men, they need to understand that you can only own so much that you don't take responsibility for actually caring for or cultivating. Because a lot is going to decay in that thing that you own that you don't take responsibility for and that you don't care for. That's why there's in these colonization projects that happen, it's just a matter of colonizing and then consuming as much as possible and then just throwing it away. Because we don't cultivate any culture. We don't create any culture. We just colonize, consume, corrupt, throw away. Parasitic. That is the leadership of this world. Breaking it right back down into the issue, the main issue that the people are going to have in this world. The people are going to struggle with, and it's simply going to be community development. The future is community. We have been so individualized, hyper individualized, and Mark Zuckerberg, I'm right on your ass again. We've been hyper individualized by social media, by the need to have an independent identity in a world where it feels like everybody is being seen and validated except you. Or so it feels like that. We have to go back to a point where we wake up, know that we are the awareness in our body. We can be aware of that, identify that, and we can care for that first. And then in caring for that fundamentally, we can present that into the world and allow the world to do whatever it does with it. But again, people are so lonely because they've spent so much time apart from themselves. They're forgetting that the loneliness is that they're not even next to their own selves. They're not even in their own body. They're with a bunch of other people who are also running away from themselves. So inevitably, they're going to run away from you at some point. And then when everybody's run away from you, and all you know is how to run away from you, of course you're going to feel lonely. The loneliness is going to feel existential because you aren't even your own friend. And this is why I say cult of identity. Like, that's how communities are built in this system, in this consumer, like, where social identity is almost more important than who you actually are. People are so needing, desperate to be in identity, to validate their own identity. Oh, well, I'm a doctor, so let me get in this community of other doctors. Instead of, well, I'm a doctor of this, how can I find a community where I can serve these people most effectively and efficiently? Different types of people who need me and my services. How can I be there for them? Oh, no, I'd rather just go to these certain conferences every year so I can continue to remind myself that, yeah, I'm a high-paid person who is better than you, and we're all just, cooler than you. I shouldn't have used a doctor example for that. I should have used like a finance bro or one of these 20-year-old millionaire e-com entrepreneurs. I should have used one of those. Salesperson. MLM schemes. That's what I should have used. MLM schemes. It's a bunch of people. What I'm trying to say is that the issue that people are struggling with in this country, at least from what I know, because I haven't lived nowhere else, communities are built based on we are the same identity, so we will get into a community based on that identity. And then the community will probably self-destruct because we'll have to realize, hey, everybody in this community is the same identity, but we all have different needs, and these needs not being addressed is very non-complementary to the existence of this community. So we will take from each other, we will sabotage this community, we will, in the worst sense, we will know that we cannot serve our own needs as a community, so we will bond in some kind of intense emotion, and in doing so, we will take from other people's communities in a predatory sense, which is like what white supremacy is basically. Hey, we are so afraid of the knowing that we lack some kind of interconnection to divinity that allows us to be complete without needing to take from other people. So we will create an identity around how divine that is that we are. We will not share the truth of how we really feel, the lack, the spiritual lack that we feel, and the spiritual disconnection on this planet. And then we will go colonize or justify colonizing other people who actually have access to that, so we can, by proxy of consuming them, feel the things that they have naturally been able to create on their own without having to humble our egos enough to do so, which is a conscious community, which I'm going to explain right here. By humbling the ego, I mean a conscious community is a bunch of different people who understand the need of the collective is more important than the need of each individual person. And we break everybody down, not in an abusive sense, we break everybody down to see how can we sacrifice the niche needs of our own individual egos to best serve this collective, because we know the return that this collective will get by our collective investment will be more than anything any of us individually could get. And we know, even though this person and that person are both amazing at this one thing, this person needs to take the A side and this person needs to take the B side, so we can make sure that we're getting the 100% maximum return of this community, or whatever the intention was of this community. And then you allow people to realize, hey, I'm more than just a job. I'm more than just a student. I'm more than just a parent. I'm a part of something. And my investment in this something creates a return that positively impacts other people who are different than me, who live different lives than me, who care about different things than me, who exist on different parts of the world than me, but we're doing this together. And I can appreciate the differences, because in being different, that allows us the maximum or the best opportunity to collaborate and literally complement each other's flaws and getting what we need to done. How crazy is that? See, that's why when you hear things like that, you have to sit here and be like, dude, racism is the dumbest thing ever, bro. And it's like, people who are racist like make me uncomfortable. Like, and I'm not talking about like racist jokes. Like, I get dark humor and whatnot. I'm talking about like genuinely like racist, like ignorant, insecure people. Them people make me scared, bro. Cause like, you finna hate me over some black skin, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. Make sure this is still recording. One of you loves when I do that. One of you loves when I say, let me check it, I'm still recording. So that's the only reason I still do it, and I don't cut them out the videos, just for you. So just know, if you see this and you're watching this video, I love you with everything in my heart. But let's get back to what I'm saying, right? So we can jump into our phase 3 before I get kicked out of this library. By allowing corporations to do a underground war on the working class, and I think it started well before Reagan, because we did have social welfare programs, not for marginalized people, of course, but there were, the New Deal in like the 30s or whatever came with a bunch of social welfare programs that helped the people out. But again, that came after the Depression. We haven't even hit our Depression yet. We haven't even hit our this century's Depression yet. So let me just explain what I'm trying to explain. Reaganomics was, and I want you to think about Trump in the same way. Reagan was not the president. Reagan was the key into the door that is United States politics. And from opening that door, corporations were able to throw a hailstorm of every type of explosive to really start to destroy the inner workings of our government. And then in that time that they were just feeding us all types of culture and entertainment and popular, news and whatnot, we were further being pushed away from focusing on what was being done to the only government we have to protect us and our human rights as people. Corporations were lobbying, they were lying, they were bribing, they were doing everything in the books. Reagan was just an opportunity for them to go directly into the government, have a spokesperson for their needs in the government. This makes me think about how I think politicians are the most hungry, money-hungry cash whores on planet Earth, but we'll have that conversation on my TikTok. Reagan is the key or the foot in the door that says, hey, you think we can look in any of these human rights and like civilian protections and make any bread off of these? That's what the first thing was. How can we make bread off of unsuspecting general American society while at the same time dehumanizing enough people, black and brown people, to then instigate more generational issues by drugs, by housing projects, by guns, by alcohol, by all types of stuff. So then when they act in relation to the circumstances that we've provided for them, the everyday Americans who are already struggling are going to be so afraid any kind of legislation that goes to punish the dehumanized class will pass. By consequence of the fear of the working class people who are not being deprived of any human rights by this dehumanized class, they're being deprived by the same rich people who are selling them salvation by means of more police force, by means of more jails, by means of more punishment, and not actual healing and actual human accommodation. Because it's hard, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who has healthcare, housing, a healthy family, a good support system, a job, a hobby, access to seeing nature and animals. You'll be hard pressed to try to find one of those people going above and beyond, out of their way to commit crimes to sustain their own survival. And again, how can you blame somebody who's only committing crimes to sustain their own survival when those circumstances were manufactured for them to fail in? It's almost like we should be turning and looking at the sadism that is in the United States government by proxy. By proxy, the FBI and the CIA, instead of punishing the people who were already punished by being in a vulnerable position, preyed upon, and then exploited. And then now dehumanized for how they react based on their circumstances, not based on what they would have done if given healthier circumstances and better accommodations. Reaganomics. Corporations were already in the government, but even worse than that, this opened the door to allowing us to believe that these tech bros and finance guys could do anything in relation to leading a healthy social culture with political legislation. The only thing that these tech bros and these finance bros are going to do is serve their own needs and then forget that like all the money that they hoard in their salaries is actually supposed to go to everyday families so they can keep on living. Because when you live in a world where bankers are making more money than teachers, than doctors, than construction workers, than everybody who does any essential work at all. Bankers, the people that hold the money, they're making more money than the people who work for the money? The people who hold the money and the people who hoard the money are the richest people in a world full of people who work for the money and don't get paid enough. Think very hard about any culture war you've ever heard and just know it's always going to be a class war. Essential industries and social programs were turned into short-term cash cows to debt-strap the working class to a broken system, turning them into lifetime slaves, to a system that was never going to serve them, ever. It was only ever going to take 99% of them to return the hope that that 1% might show up, or give you the 1% and then continue to sell you this illusion that, hey, maybe that other 99% might come. You're just not lucky enough. I'll give 3 examples. Credit cards, healthcare, higher education. I'll add a 4th one, real estate. Because what's funny? If those 4 things are human rights, if we consider those to be human rights, then America is the leading nation in human rights violations. But who's going to punish them? We have the #1 military force in the world. We'll just go to war with you. That'll do the trick, right? Yeah. It's almost like we don't put $1 trillion every single year into our military force, and then we expect our army vets to get ready to beat COVID-19. We expect our robot military dogs to get ready to sick them on COVID-19, on monkeypox. Oh, wait. You're supposed to create healthy standards and actually accommodate people by means of education, public health, and housing, and healthcare and support services. You're not supposed to spend all your money on guns and corporate drugs and then, oh, my bad, I forgot to add I didn't mean to add the corporate drugs in part. They're not supposed to know that. You can't use that to take on a poor literacy rate in your country. You can't use it to take on a pandemic. You can't use it to take on nationwide illness. You can't use it to take on wealth inequality. You can only use that to prey on other vulnerable people that you have to justify dehumanizing to steal shit from. Because even if they aren't an enemy now, they could be an enemy tomorrow. Even if they're literally just women and children living on threads, they could be an enemy tomorrow, and we must take them out today. That's how America thinks. I was going to make this video 2 years ago, almost to the date. But this is the belly of the beast, my friends. America is the belly of the beast. Whatever that devil is these Christians be talking about, it lives in this country. And I hope you guys are willing to look in the mirror and see if it's in there. On to phase 3. Okay. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't have a lot of time to talk about this last part. But we're going to get into it as much as I can. Maybe this is intentional, but this is my theory as to what the future of America entails with our 2 potential political options. As quickly as I can before I get thrown out of here. Call it the rapid fire round. If you want more, just get on my TikTok, jump in my Discord. We'll talk and chat about stuff like this. So when Biden couldn't get enough of the black vote, and that was just a throwaway, and it was going to be an automatic loss to Trump, they're like, what if we put another Barack Obama? But this time, a woman Barack Obama. So then, and they weren't going to use Michelle, even though Michelle would have been my option, because Michelle should be the president. But they use Kamala because they know they can still, they know Kamala is still on a string. All she will do is her job to the best of her ability, even if her job means locking up black and brown people for smoking hash. Not even for actually doing real crimes like the 2008 financial crisis. But that's another problem. So the only reason why Kamala's in there is for pseudo representation for all marginalized people. She's a this, she's a woman, she's a black, Indian, Asian, it's just all the isms and the freaking the identities. She is. And that is supposed to not only get the young people, but get the black vote and then just get the Democrats over the heads for another 4 years for them to not find any plans until they have to convince us, you guys might go back to slavery. So I knew the Kamala thing was going to happen probably like 2 or 3 months before that even happened. But this is the reason why I'm making this video, because maybe I'm going to be 6, 9, 18 months ahead of this other stuff. But I don't see a positive future for anybody other than the people who would have enjoyed America in the 1950s. And you know what I'm talking about. She can win. I don't believe this country is set up for Kamala to win, or for any Democrat to win, to be honest. But Kamala Harris can win, definitely. But she's going to go back to being a cop because she has to. Because she has to adhere to, everybody knows this in power, especially in American politics, you have to adhere to the majority of Americans. That is white America. They don't care for all the culture war, the woke shenanigans. They just want to hear that immigrants are getting kicked out of this place and that we're going to war against somebody and winning. That's literally all they care about. So she's going to do that, because if she doesn't do that and she actually does what she says she's going to do, I'm going to be a president for everybody. Well, then we're going to get a second January 6th. And I'm sorry that I'm saying it, but it's facts, because we have allowed them to think that they can do something that egregious with such minuscule punishment. But we were shooting rubber bullets at students who were doing a stand-in protest on their campus, and who students were getting attacked by outsiders that didn't even go to the school. And the cops were on the side of the outsiders who didn't go to the school, shooting at students. But nobody... It's hard for me to find that the massacre that happened on January 6th, if I'm being honest with you. Very hard for me to find out what that was. Oh, because there wasn't. Because all the people in government just ran away into their little bunkers, like they're always going to do if the people ever end up deciding to revolt. We're coming for you, Nancy. We're coming for you, Nancy. You remember that? I hope that brings up PTSD as fuck, bro. I hope that brings up PTSD as fuck. But again, the marginalized people who vote, and I'm not saying not to vote, because I guarantee you I'm probably going to be voting for Kamala. I know. But we're going to be disappointed again. Us people who are actually on the left, we're going to be disappointed. That's the point of this shit. And it's just, again, to say, hey, you know what? You marginalized people, you know you can't organize yourself in 4 years. So come join our side. That's literally what it is every single 4 years. You guys can't organize yourself fast enough. So another election. Just pick what we throw at you. That's why it's important for us to go to the conscious complementary community mindset instead of the cult of identity. Because we can all be leftists, but we all have different needs to be met underneath a system that breaks us all down and then enmeshes us together to think that, oh, well, if one of us gets our needs met, all of us are getting our needs met. That's not true. We all have to humble ourselves in knowing what types of community actually can help us meet our needs in the best way possible without us needing to cut so much of ourselves off in order to survive in some kind of cult of identity. Because I'm rich, because I'm white, because I'm a this. And then again, right here, I just finished it. Democrats go back on promises until next election, because that's all they do. They're literally just the Republican side in blue. That's it. Two sides, same party, nobody cares. Or Donald Trump can win. I'm not laughing because that's a good thing. I'm laughing because that's very scary. Because right after he goes in, there is no point in him being a president. He won't do the, I am your president and we will this, and say anything of any value. He is just a spokesperson. The same way y'all were saying Sleepy Joe, Trump is the same way. The Republican Party is manipulating Trump so they can exploit his narcissism so he can be the one to take the fall for them. And if anything goes wrong, Trump is the hit guy. But if it doesn't go wrong, every sick dream the Republican and Conservative Party has had they can funnel through him with the most effective chance of working, because not only, they don't have to convince the people of shit. The people love Trump. So now, the people are so dumb, they love Trump, and they'll allow any rich person to do anything as long as Trump is telling him it's okay. So that's how the rich continue to allow themselves to get richer, by cosplaying as somebody who gives up about the poor American people, who has never been poor a day in his life. Selling you dreams because you're stupid. But as Project 2025 is going to destroy the inside of America, literally right as that, or no, that's exactly what I'm saying. As Project 2025 goes out of its way to destroy the insides of America, the United States, all the money that's being sent to Israel, that's all investments for the future. Because the intention is to completely clear out Gaza and completely clear out the Palestinian people. Netanyahu and all of them, there's no intention of a two-state system. They need the Republican Party to go in, and they need Project 2025 to go in, so there's no opposition to them finishing what is going down in the Middle East, so they can take all the oil that comes from there, and they can build new real estate, and then only allow...
Have any items to check out? Do so now.
I told you, I'm getting kicked out of here. And then the real estate that they take from over there, which I don't know who they're going to use, in some sick vision that I've had, they're taking the refugees who have lost everything from this war, which is truly a genocide, and they'll put them there and say, hey, you can work for us. Israelis, American Israelis, who are living in the land that was yours, that you were entitled to, and you can build this land for us, and then we'll let you have a reservation over here, like we in America did with the indigenous people when we took out 99% of their population. And then we're going to use wealth inequality we're going to use artificial intelligence to make wealth inequality permanent, just to give wealthy people almost like the final sedative that they need, that the poor will never, ever, ever get organized or built up enough to a point where they actually have to worry about being powerful or being who they say they are and competing against us. As long as they keep us divided, as long as they keep us craving validation, craving the crumbs of compensation that they give us, while we're giving everything that we are to them, as long as they continue to keep us on cycles of that bullshit, the wealthy and powerful will have absolute power under God. Because that's the goal. That's the only reason why we're going Christian nationalism. It's the only reason why Diddy will go back to church and think that he's going to be saved after that. It's because this is the Western Christian church, at least the one that allows capitalism to be a real thing. It is literally just wash your hands of your sins and get back to doing whatever the fuck you were doing. Wash your hands of your sins, say a couple of words that may sound cool to be socially acceptable, and let's keep it pushing. Let's keep on doing the demonic activities we're running. As sad as it is, and I'm sorry, bro. I'm very sorry that I have to let you guys know that. But it's true. We're either going to have some kind of January 6th, because these people can't accept that an election, they can lose an election twice, or Project 2025 goes in, and that's even worse, because inside there's so many human rights protections taken away and so many government agencies gutted and destroyed that actually care about the human people outside of any kind of religious cult. You're going to see about 30 to 40% of the Americans that you look at every single day, you're about to see them dehumanized and then used by this new nation to create whatever kind of world they have set up for themselves. And I'm sorry, but I don't know what world it is. Because the last time Christian nationals had an opportunity to lead the world, or at least not Christian nationals, the last time the Christian cult ended up taking a country over, it incited a dark ages. For so long, that the only thing that saved these people was a renaissance. I don't want to go through the dark ages, bro. I'm trying to get to the renaissance ASAP. I'm trying to get to the renaissance before we even have to endure a dark ages. Ooh, okay. Let's see how much we got in here. So again, I'm not telling you to vote for anybody. If you're a marginalized person, this is the last time we're voting Democrat. We're going through the roof for Kamala, and then for the next 4 years, we're going to hound every single day to make sure everything gets done. And if nothing gets done, then 2028 is our third party year. I'm going to let it out right now. 2028, for the rest of every election after this one, I'm voting third party. And I'm investing third party, and I'm creating opportunities to make sure that people know that third party exists. Very final clip here. Very final clip here. Let's see. So a little final bit as to what is big tech doing, since we've just addressed almost the entire political structure, sociological issue of the American state, the American empire. What is big tech doing with all of that money they've been making, with those 200,000 a year software developer jobs? What are they doing? Americans are going to be sold the AI hype by big tech to instigate the next generation slave trade. Oh, well, we're going to have flying cars and humanoid robots and, robot friends. They sell you the dream, right? If they front load you all the cool stuff that comes with AI, they don't tell you how much energy that takes. They don't tell you how much energy the data centers take. They don't tell you how much resource you have to mine from the grounds. Have you researched what they do with Tesla? Have you researched what it takes to make Apple a $1 trillion company? Do you know what's happening in Congo? We're front-loaded illusions, dreams of what could be, and then in buying the dream, we, in our reality, get dragged into the truth of what is, and we, the poors, will be slaves that create this AI world for the rich, and whoever the rich chooses to join them. In a virtual reality, Zuckerberg is creating the metaverse, thinking that he's going to get people to spend 24 hours, not just the 10 to 12 they usually do, in a reality from a person who is known for stealing and selling people's data to save his own face and billionaire status. And on the complete other end, oh my goodness, we even have dreams, existential dreams. Instead of just colonizing Earth, because that wasn't enough for white supremacy, let's go colonize everything. Let's go to Mars next. But we have a bunch of issues on Earth first that we should deal with. And Elon Musk really isn't that smart because none of his businesses really ever kick. And he really is just good at selling dreams to people because all he does is get billionaire investment money and use that to fund his businesses that are successful, usually completely independent of him. He is just the spokesperson of whatever the cult army of... I'm going to get this video deleted if I say the rest of that. But remember, the point is to get you apart from reality as much as possible, to front load you dreams sold to you by people who you think are smarter than you, so they can then, once you buy the dream, once you buy the product, you buy the course, bang! Somebody's got to be a slave to make it happen, right? Somebody's got to be a slave to make it happen, and who's that going to be? Not the rich guy, not the robot who's going to serve the rich guy. You motherfucker. You. This library is about to close in like 5 minutes, but we got it done. We're locked in today, man. I'm telling you, we're locked in today. Do not play with me. If you've stayed till the end of this video, if you're somebody of any political, social power, and you want to contact me for some political strategy, hit me up on my line. I'm about business all day. Only if you let me blow the reefer on my break time, I'll join you. But I'm telling you, bro, I really feel like I'm smart. And I feel like I have to get this out to you guys today because America's done, bro. America as we knew it is done. And I hope you guys are ready to contribute in creating a world worth living in. Thank you guys so much for being here. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. If you want to contribute to the channel, there's links in the description. If you think I'm cute, you think I'm sexy, you want to have sex, Instagram.